Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is brought to you by Chiro HD, Evo Creative Media, 100% Chiropractic, Chiro Health USA, Imaging Services, Chiro Moguls, New Patients in a Box, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, Pro Hockey Chiros, Pro Baseball Chiros, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting our sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 607 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Clint Steele, and we discussed brain-based health solutions. For the full episode, stay tuned. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. It's episode 607 today. I have Clint Steele coming in from Maine. We have some events that she has going on. Pain to Brain, February 2nd through 4th in Tampa, Florida coming up. And we have May 17th through 19th in Dallas, Texas coming up. So mark your guys' calendars, jump in and join them at their conventions in Q1 and Q2. This episode is sponsored by Clint and Tina with their brand, The Truth of Brain Care and Neuroinfinity. I think it's really exciting that they have joined on with Chiro Hustle to support freedom of speech in chiropractic, medical freedom, and family health freedom, the things that we stand for. And we also support BJ Palmer Sacred Trust. It's very important that people know that. If you don't know what that is, go check out our show notes and you'll find a whole lot more about chiropractic and chiropractic philosophy than you previously did, I guarantee you. As we go through the intro, we support subluxation-centered chiropractic clinics. I know that I shouldn't have to say that, but they're taking this stuff out of the schools. So we have to stand in the gap and produce something that they can share on the campuses, and that chiropractic students know what chiropractic really is because of Chiro Hustle now. And we also believe in innate intelligence and universal intelligence. We believe that when man or woman, the physical, gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual. And that's probably all done because their brain's working better.
For sure.
So with that all being said, Tina Steele, welcome to the show. You're episode 607.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we have a different type of a conversation today because neither one of us are chiropractors, but we both support this chiropractic profession.
Right. Yes, we do. We're very important pieces of the puzzle.
So kind of share with us your story of chiropractic and how you started to become an advocate within the profession.
Sure. So when I met my husband, my now husband, Dr. Clint Steele, it was almost 13 years ago, and he was retired from chiropractic. And I, at that time in my life, had not had great experiences with chiropractors myself. I had struggled with a lot of back pain over the years. I'd had multiple back surgeries. And so when I first met him, and it's actually kind of funny, we laugh about it now, I wouldn't let him adjust me for a long time because of the experiences that I had with chiropractic. So when I met him, he was retired doing other things, as you know, but when his passion reignited to get back into chiropractic, he really spent a lot of time educating me about the truth of chiropractic. And he started adjusting people that I love and know, my family members who have all suffered with different health conditions. And I started seeing them get better. It was pretty amazing, actually. My mother, who had IBS and anxiety and depression, I mean, it was like what he was doing was changing her life. So I slowly came to the other side. And of course, I loved him. I love him and I trust him. And he saw that he was doing amazing things. So my mind about chiropractic started to change. I started to let him adjust me. And then my life changed. I had chronic strep throat every winter that I dealt with. I had a number of sleep issues and other health issues that subsided once I started getting adjusted regularly. So that's when everything transformed for me. It was because of him, for sure.
Well, they say when you change, everything changes around you.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
I think love makes you healthier too.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
Um, so you saw your family getting regular care, you saw yourself getting regular care, and now you guys have this business where you're helping people with a product called the Neuro Infinity.
Right, right. I mean, there's so much that came before the Neuro Infinity. So I'll talk a little bit about that because, that the Neuro Infinity has just been a game changer for our practice and for business and in general. But when I came to the other side of chiropractic, Clint got back into practice and things took off, and he was crazy busy because he was sharing the truth of chiropractic, practicing what we refer to as brain-based chiropractic, and he needed somebody to come help in the office. And that's when I decided I wanted to be a part of this journey because of all the success with my health issues, my family. I wanted to be with him and kind of share this mission with the world. So I left my career in higher education and came to work with him in his practice when he was adjusting patients. And that's kind of when things were born for, this business was born. It initially started as True Chiro, which a lot of you listening to this probably are familiar with and know. But then it evolved into brain-based health solutions just last year. Then we took over the Neuro Infinity company a couple of years ago. So there's been a lot that's happened since we started this.
So brain-based health solutions. Um, how did you guys decide that that was the direction you wanted to go?
So when we started, True Chiro, we were very focused on helping chiropractors transition from pain to brain and see patients for things other than pain. And with that evolution, just came the knowledge and expertise that you know health issues are the result of a brain problem and brain function. Over 95% of disease and illness can be attributed to a brain problem. So when we were kind of looking for more things that we could bring into business to help docs educate patients about that. And that's when we Dr. Richard Barwell approached us with his technology, the Neuro Infinity, and we decided to take that over and implement that. And since we did that, that is when really everything shifted because we finally had some technology that could show the patient that whatever health issue they were having or experiencing was the result of their brain function or a brain problem. So for us, it just changed everything when we brought in the Neuro Infinity.
So let's talk about that a little bit because a lot of people are out there like, what is this Neuro Infinity thing? Can you talk in like layman's terms what this does
Sure.
for people?
Yeah, yeah. So, this technology, it's a 12-minute assessment that measures how a person responds to and adapts to stress. So there's different cognitive stressors that the technology will put people through and when they're all hooked up to the technology, and it will actually measure their brain waves, their skin temperature, a number of different things to let us know what's happening to their brain and nervous system when they are experiencing stress, which is very, very important. So it's all charted. It's so easy to explain to the patients, when they see the cognitive stress that was introduced to them and what happened to their brain function, what happened to their nervous system. It's pretty amazing. It's very different technology than what's out there and what a lot of other chiropractors are using.
So I think the last time I spoke to Clint, it focuses on heart rate variability also.
Hmm. Yes.
Uh, and I think, are you implementing this pre and post adjustment?
Yeah, so we normally what we do is you do the assessment at the beginning to kind of get a baseline for where the patient is, and then we do like a 6 week, another NeuroInfinity session with the patient. So in terms of pre and post adjustment, we're working on some research ourselves with that. And we've been doing it's pretty powerful what you see happen after an adjustment to brain function. So we're working on putting together research for that ourselves. We've been doing that for a while, but in practice, what most docs do is the initial assessment. And then again, 6 weeks later, after they've been getting adjusted for a while, to kind of show progress, which is pretty significant usually.
Well, one of my buddies helps with tax credits, just off the cuff, like helps with people doing research and development in chiropractic. So maybe that's something we could hook you guys up with, because if you're doing research and you're actually doing the work, I think it's really cool.
That'd be
There's lots
awesome.
of research and development is something that's really needed in chiropractic. And, I think that the more that we can show people that we're making a positive influence on their quality of life and they're adapting with the chiropractic adjustment, that's the part where it's very subjective.
Oh yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and people are like, well, I feel great, but what are we actually doing? What are we accomplishing? And I
Right.
think, like, over time, my early beginning was in a chiropractic biophysics clinic. So we were actually doing a pre and post x-ray. We were showing, like, when we would do traction on somebody's neck or low back over 24 visits or 36 visits, like, how can we remodel and remold someone's spine?
Right.
And I think that that's really interesting, but how can we actually use that, like the impulse of an adjustment, and how quickly can somebody adapt, and how can we change their state of how they're functioning from adjustment to adjustment? So I think that
Right.
that's really cool. So have you seen some really cool, like, reassessments after people go through that
Yeah.
6 weeks?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, because we also implement like some lifestyle changes and brain-based exercises and things like that. But there are so many people out there who have an over-aroused nervous system and are just stressed out. And if that's the case and the doc is delivering a high force manual adjustment, that's not going to do what it needs to do to help that patient. So that's the great thing about this technology, is that docs can see what exactly is going on with their patient, and then adjust their adjustments accordingly based on that patient's nervous system.
Yeah, I've always been told you don't have to have an audible to know that the patient got an adjustment.
Right. Clint uses torque release technique, so it isn't manual at all.
Yeah, it's low force, high amplitude.
Mhm. Right.
And it's really, I tell people this all the time, that that technique was founded in addictionology. Like, they found that, like, when they started to adjust people with torque release, they were starting to change people's behavior around addiction.
Oh, right, right. Yes. Yes. Yep. It's pretty amazing. It is. It's
So
pretty amazing.
so so when you pair the two together,
Mhm.
torque release with neuroinfinity, like, you're not actually twisting, cracking, and popping like a segment. You're actually nudging specific segments to go back to where they're supposed to where the body can adapt and find homeostasis again and actually heal. And then that, what you said, these nervous systems are on, like, high alert. Like, when
Mhm.
you start getting somebody's nervous system to actually chill out, then
Right.
they start functioning better. They start sleeping better. They start, having better attitude.
Mhm. And so many people are just because of this over arousal, they're just constantly stressed. So, when the stressor is gone, whatever that is, they're not coming down from it. And that's how people get sick. That's how disease starts.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Chiro HD, Evo Creative Media, 100% Chiropractic, Chiro Health USA, Imaging Services, Chiro Moguls, New Patients in a Box, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, Pro Hockey Chiros, Pro Baseball Chiros, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting our sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now let's hustle. So let's talk a little bit about the challenges involved with a pain-based practice.
So number one, what we see, because we work with a lot of docs that are obviously making that transition from pain to brain, but that constantly chasing new patients. With pain-based practices, the average PVA for chiropractors is 12 visits. They come in for 10 to 12 visits and then they're gone. So it's like this constant cycle of trying to find their next patient. So there's stress, there's money stress, there's stress about that. But really, that is one of the biggest pain points that we see with chiropractors making the transition. And, if you're stressed, if chiropractors are stressed, and constantly chasing new patients, how effective are they going to be in caring for their patients? So brain-based chiropractic helps chiropractors educate their patients about the importance of continued chiropractic adjustments to maintain health and improve brain function, so that they are not going to continue chasing patients. I mean, once people understand and get it, it's kind of like a no-brainer, right? They know that they need chiropractic care. So when chiropractors are just focused on pain, there's nothing else to go with, because once their pain is gone, they think they're fixed and they walk out of the office. But a pain problem is a brain problem too, and it's going to keep coming back.
So have you seen, because of the way that you switched the model of care up, that people are referring in more frequently too?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's one thing that happened with us in our practice, but also we did a lot of education to our following and the public about chiropractic. I mean, when we did education, we never even talked about pain. We talked about all sorts of health issues that chiropractic could help with other than pain, and that's what we do for our docs that sign up for our brain-based practice blueprint and use our technology. We have an education program for them where we do all of the education for them, and like I said, we don't even really talk about pain.
So what I remember you saying earlier is you came from an education background,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and Clint's chiropractor.
Yes.
And you
Yep.
know that the definition of doctor is teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So now you guys have taken an education standpoint with the doctor's performance and technology that actually helps improve like outcomes. Um, like, what is your role in the business now?
So I do a lot of behind the scenes work. As you know, it's a lot of work organizing events. I do all of that. I'm kind of the coordinator, and of course, what I'm run and manage is our patient education program. So I have my master's degree in higher education. I have an education background. So I really coordinate that program, and I do all of the onboarding for our docs into our brain-based practice blueprint. So I have kind of an education role in teaching them different things, how to access different things. And then, it's really nice with Clint being the chiropractor and me being somebody that was on the other side of chiropractic and thought chiropractors were just about pain, that we're doing the education together, So because sometimes chiropractors, aren't always thinking about that patient's mindset, right? Sometimes they get caught up and they're not saying something that somebody that's not a chiropractor might understand. So that's kind of where I come in, and it's just a very nice marriage in every way.
So say that somebody's like, "Gosh, this sounds great. I think I need to have a neuro infinity. I think I need to move from pain-based practice to brain-based practice." How do you take the patients that they already have on like in their clinic and help
Mhm.
them convert them to this new model?
So we have, through our brain-based practice blueprint, we have a whole protocol in place for this to help docs make this transition, and it begins with education. It begins with all those patients that are in there for pain. Once docs have this technology, they're having the patient come in to get a stress response evaluation, which is the brain-based assessment using the Neuro Infinity technology, and helping them understand that their pain problem is a brain problem, because that's what they're in there for right now. So if they don't do anything about it and they just get adjusted until the pain is gone, they're going to be back in the office. But then not just that, we help docs kind of show patients that any other health issues they might be experiencing are also the result of their brain function, as evidenced by their results from the neuroinfinity assessment. So it's pretty powerful when you sit down with a patient and you're able to share that with them. I mean, they get it.
So how do you see this technology advancing chiropractic?
I think that this is really going to help change change the perception of chiropractic being about pain. And that's one of our biggest missions. And what we're very passionate about is helping the public and helping people understand that chiropractic is about so much more than pain, and that, research shows over 95% of illness and disease is caused by stress, stress on the brain, stress on the nervous system. So for us, that's our goal, and really changing that conversation and helping, so that when you ask somebody what a chiropractor does, instead of them just thinking, oh, they help people with pain, they're going to think of chiropractors as more brain-based doctors, and they can help with all sorts of health issues.
So one of my favorite things to do on our show is to talk about marketing. How have you seen docs use the brain-based systems to improve their marketing and get new patients? Because I know you said it's not about always going out getting new patients, but how can we keep the patients that we actually get? Have you seen docs being able to use your guys' systems to actually attract more new patients also?
Yeah. So, that's the education component that we build into our blueprint for docs, where we do all the education for them. We post on their Facebook page every day. We send an email once a week. We send text twice a week. We create patient handouts for the office, tick at the table talking points, and then we're providing. So we're doing all the education for them so that they're busy adjusting. It takes the work out of their hands and puts it in ours. So we give them a lot of content related to like Facebook ads and things that they can do to kind of attract patients in. But just with this education alone and word of mouth, honestly, when docs make this transition, it's huge. I mean, when we have a topic and we're focused on anxiety or depression or something like that all week, and somebody thinks, what? I didn't know chiropractors could help with that. And it's intriguing and they want to learn more. So they might schedule an appointment, or they have their family member come in. There's just so many referrals. What our docs see in the program is a lot of referrals, a lot of reactivations, and they're not stressed chasing patients all the time, because people are staying for much longer than 10 to 12 visits.
And I know that people don't typically think about like brain with chiropractic. How have you guys been able to, I guess, teach the patients to talk to their friends and family about that practice and what makes it different?
So, we use the word stress a lot. Stressed brain syndrome is kind of a term that we coined for people who, most people have stressed brain syndrome just from the daily stressors of life. And you can correlate that with any health issue that somebody is experiencing, right? So their brain is stressed, they're on overload, their nervous system is overloaded. So that is how they're getting sick. That is the problem. And what chiropractors do through the chiropractic adjustment is help remove and reduce that stress on the brain and nervous system so that it can function better and do what it's supposed to do and heal the body. So it's really just, it's the stressed brain syndrome that we kind of always attribute it back to the stress.
Well, I think that that's important, that people know how to talk to their clients about what you do and be
Mm-hmm.
able to like send home the message. I
Right.
think a lot of times when a chiropractor does it, that's why they don't get referrals. It's
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know how to send the message home with the patient. And it is very transactional, and let's get you out of pain. And I think that's a huge like issue with chiropractic and why a lot of offices don't grow, because the chiropractor doesn't know how to send the message home.
And they aren't educating. They don't have an education system in place. So that's important too.
So is there a certain practice type or technique type that integrates best with your guys' systems?
Not a practice type or technique. I mean, we have docs that have all sorts of different techniques and all different kinds of practices. You know, we it's Any doc can do this is if they have the mindset to do it and they want to make that transition. You know, so even though we do a lot of helping docs transition from pain to brain, we have a lot of docs who are already very brain based and more holistic and doing a lot of other things in practice where this technology really ties it all together for them. It's kind of like the missing piece for what they're doing. So it's really, I mean, for any doc in practice.
Yeah, it's cool because sometimes, like we find a solution that works for like a torque release office and like all of them start adopting it, or Gonstead practitioners find a certain thing that they adopt that works for all of their types of, clinics, or, a network office. They want to do, their style of practice. So it's pretty interesting to see that it doesn't matter what technique or practice style a practitioner have, it would work for them too.
Yeah. Yep. Doesn't matter at all.
So I'm sure a lot of people at this point are like, well, how do I get started? How do I do this? What's the key takeaway for people if they wanted to work with you guys and get on board with brain-based health solutions?
So, my first suggestion would be to join our private Facebook group called Pain to Brain Practice Solutions. We have a lot of docs in there, brain based docs. We share a lot of great information and education. And then go to our website, brainbasedhs.com. And on the very first page down at the bottom, we have like a webinar/podcast that you can either watch or listen to that's 45 minutes long that kind of gives an overview about brain-based chiropractic, and what we're doing. And, then you can schedule a call with Dr. Clint Steele or Dee Dee Van Riper, who is our NeuroInfinity sales manager, and kind of talk it through more in depth to see if this is a good fit for their practice.
Well, that's really good information. So it's brainbasedhs.com where people
Yes.
should go
Mm-hmm.
and join the Pain to Brain Facebook group.
Yep. Pain to Brain Practice Solutions Facebook group.
Pain to Brain Practice Solutions.
And on our website, we have some free resources, a lot of really great, like a 30-day video program where each day you get a short 10 to 15-minute video talking about brain-based chiropractic with some other free resources that they can look at that I'm sure they'll find helpful.
Yeah, I think I should do that. I should go. I should go watch your guys' 30-day video program.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's help people with this stressed brain syndrome. Let's help people turn it from pain to brain, and join their Pain to Brain Practice Solutions Facebook group and check them out at brainbasedhs.com and reach out to either Clint, Tina, or Dee Dee. Is there anything I didn't ask you today during our time together that you'd like to share with our audience?
No, I think you pretty much covered it all, Jim.
Well, I really appreciate you supporting the Chiro Hustle podcast, and I look forward to more time with you guys in the future. And we came from true Chiro to to the truth of the brain care, to brain-based health solutions. So
yes.
there's a lot of moving pieces there, but one thing is in place, is that you guys help people get results and show objectively that people are getting better faster, and
Absolutely.
that the system keeps people under care longer. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's my big takeaway today is we get people better faster and we keep people under care longer. And I think that if people understood that that's the easier way to grow a practice, then everybody would want to practice this way.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a huge undertaking to constantly chase down new patients.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear all the gurus from the stage, get them to stay, pay, and refer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how are you doing that?
Right.
Well, I think that this is a solution for people to do that. So,
Right.
anybody that wants to do that, check them out. Join their Facebook group and go to their website and do the 30-day video program. And I
Yeah.
think I'll do that too, so I understand a lot more about what you guys are doing. And they do have 2 events coming up in February and in May, pain to brain seminars. February 2nd through 4th, they'll be in Tampa, Florida. And May 17th through 19th, they'll be in Dallas, Texas. And they got 2 more coming up throughout the year. And I'm sure we'll talk about those as time comes closer.
Yeah.
Tina Steele, thank you for being episode 607 of the Chiro Hustle podcast.
Thanks, Jim, so much for having me. We really love what you're doing and appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And I close out like I always do and tell everybody, your guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye for now.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.